I know that many of you this time of year long to see your gardens as they were in July and August of last year. I'm no different. I look at my gardens and think, oh, I don't see enough green. I don't see enough growth. But I'm going to give you a slight tour of my garden, and I'm going to prove myself wrong. So let's go. Number one stop is my brassicas. These do look very lush and hardy. These are Chinese cabbage, and I do still have this pest pressure. I've been spraying this with BT every year. I have all of these leaves munched on. Now, I have noted that the ones in the center are not quite as bad as they have been in the past years. So I'm going to douse the soil with BT here later today and see if maybe that doesn't help me get rid of most of this munching on the leaves thing. Now down here I have some, I think this is cauliflower and cabbage at the end. But I do want to show you this right here. I should pull up the netting. There. Woo! It's getting there. It's not quite ready. It'll give me a bigger crown than that. But a number of my broccolis have been heading up. Makes me extremely happy. Now in this bed, last year, I grew potatoes. So guess what I have? I even found a few potatoes as I was prepping this bed. And that was in another video. I still have my netting up because of those cabbage moths, but I do have more heads of broccoli. This is cabbage, of course, hasn't headed up yet. We are still weeks away from that happening. You can see here's another potato. All of my sweet potatoes are doing fine. This I wanted to share my success with. Look at the carrots, the method that I used this year. These are pretty good. Some of the rows, this row here I had to reseed, but this row back here, there's some coming up. They're in very early stages of sprouting, but I'm trying to keep it moist every day. Of course, you can see all the maple seedlings or seeds. Hopefully they don't sprout into seedlings. This is a more successful carrot bed. You can see how they're all doing really well. You can see I've got some little ones right next to some of the more successfully sprouted ones. But I'm going to take this as a pretty much of a success in my carrot growing. Now I've got some little ones coming up here. I may have to reseed through there. Now on the next bed over, look at how beautiful this head is. Isn't that absolutely gorgeous? Ooh wee! I had another one that I cut off, but it's continuing to sprout around here. And look at that beauty. I have to look up the name for this one. But isn't it gorgeous? I hate to pick it, it's just so pretty. This is a heavily seeded bed of lettuce that I've been pulling out these little babies, and I'll get it down to a more manageable level like these here that will actually then head up. Another planting of lettuces through here just a few days ago. Over there, leeks. They're taking their time, but I think I'm going to have a nice crop this year. Right here at the end, this is tatsoi. I think that's how you pronounce it. I've been eating the outer leaves off of it. It is a wonderful plant. A little bit like spinach, but a whole lot better. So I think I will be growing this almost every year instead of spinach. And definitely in the fall. It does well in cooler temperatures. Here is a bed just outside of my main garden. I had strawberries in this garden. You can see there's lots of some bright blossoms there. I sprinkled dill throughout here. There's a few little ones coming up right through here, and there's more in that whole area. But this is my cucumber trellis. I planted my cucumbers about 12 inches apart. Behind them I have sunflowers and zinnias, marigolds, and cosmos. I'll do another video on cucumbers and give you a more in-depth look at how I tackle them. Into the main garden I go, and this is where I feel that I haven't really been too successful, or things haven't really taken off like I would expect them to do. The tomatoes over here are still on the small side. This one concerns me, that has the purple leaves. I think it might be some kind of deficiency. I'm going to fertilize these again and see if that helps any. I have some squashes that I'm going to train to grow up this vine. They seem to be coming along now. Initially, some of the outer leaves are yellow, but I think we have some good growth here. It gives me hope. And then on down some more squash. I think that's spaghetti squash. But most of these tomatoes down this side are not quite as vigorous as I thought they may be. Here is a new planting. I just planted my edamame, got them in late, just a few days ago, so I don't really expect anything to be coming up yet. I have 2 rows. Those tomatoes on this trellis are doing much better, although they don't seem to be quite as vigorous as I would have expected them to be. Celery is, I guess the celery is doing fine. And I have a couple rows of carrots that are not quite doing as well as I had expected. Had to reseed, and I do have some more coming up through here, but not quite as I had expected. Some more tomatoes here. These look fine. These are going to be cherry tomatoes. This is a success so far. These are potatoes. I think these are red Norlands all down here. I've hilled them up once. Probably have to hill them up one more time. The peppers are doing well. We have a few here. These are still rather on the small side. And I'm hoping that they'll take off again. This pepper I had pruned in one of my last videos, and you can see all the new growth right here at the axis here. It's going to be a real bushy tomato, or it's going to be a really bushy pepper. We've got a pepper over here that has 3, 4, 5 blossoms on it already. Woo. So, good start. Good start. Onions are doing phenomenally well. Onions do need and do like a lot of water, and they do not like weed pressure. So mulching your onions and weeding them as best that you can will give you great success in your onion department. Last tomato trellis. This one is about ho-hum too. So I think I'm in for a fertilizing of my tomatoes. This is more of what I am looking for in a tomato. Look at that lush crown of leaves on this tomato, and the stalk is becoming very sturdy. Looks like I'll need to prune off some of these bottom leaves like I talked about in that last video. Anyway, they're coming. I just have to keep giving myself pep talks that they'll all be all right. Now the raspberry crop, on the other hand, is going to be loaded. These bushes are starting to berry up, as my grandkids would say. Lots of berries going to be on this. We got some pollinators working hard. Now as we come into the annex garden, the one that's just next to the main garden, we're met with garlic. And I think I saw yesterday the beginnings of some scapes. See this right here? That's a scape. And that's going to push up and it's going to curl. And when it curls, then I'll be able to harvest those scapes, which will then let the garlic keep growing and forming a nice bulb down here beneath the soil. No peas yet for my sugar snap peas, but as you can see right here, I do have a flower. So shortly after the flower, here's some more flowers here. I should be getting sugar snap peas. So there are things growing in the garden. More potatoes that are doing very well, at least on the top they're doing very well. Have to hill those up, haven't hilled those up yet. Down here, more squashes, zucchini and yellow squash. I was worried about what this was all about, but with a little fertilizer, it looks like they've come back and they're getting some nice additional growth on them. All of these plants are. So I may have too many yellow squash and zucchini. Yikes. Over next door, these are garden huckleberries. And look at this guy. He's huge. And he has flowers on it already. And where the flowers form, you'll get little berries. Lots of groupings all the way up this guy. But I have quite a number of plants. They did well for me last year, so I decided to give them a bed of their own and be able to harvest more garden huckleberries. I made a little bit of jam out of them, and this year I hope to get enough to make a lot more jam out of them. So I guess I'm ending on a high note here. I do have some things that are struggling and not as far along as I think they ought to be, but we are only in the beginning of June. Now, we have been starved for rain. Hopefully some is coming in a day. I've had to do a lot of watering, and it always seems as though when you get rain from up above, it's much more nourishing than what you get pumped out of the faucet. I think I've given myself a pep talk with this garden tour. How's your garden doing? Let me know down below in the comments section. If you haven't already, please subscribe. Give me a thumbs up, and thanks for following me. So until the next time that we can go dig it in the dirt, happy gardening. Bye.